right. Glad to see such a packed theater. All right, so I'm going to call in HILIT VAINBERGER, who's the CRO of Signal.io. And Bill SWANSON, VP of EMEA for PubMatic. SEMION ROTSHTEIN, the CEO and co-founder of Cydersoft. And AMIR MAOR, CEO and founder of Appreciate. Good. So let me start by maybe a brief introduction of each and every panelist, and then we can dive right in. I'll start with myself. I'm DVIR from Cedato. Cedato is a technology stack for video, for programmatic video. We work with publishers, platforms, and programmatic advertisers from across the ecosystem, and I'm so happy to see so many of our customers and partners here. Such a great event. HILIT, maybe you'll tell us a bit more about what you guys do.
Sure. So my name is HILIT VAINBERGER. I'm the CRO at Signal.io. It's a technology startup. We started off about 1.5 years ago developing Core, our bitstream recommendation engine, to create a more healthy and efficient programmatic ecosystem and to solve a growing pain for the DSPs and the SSPs to manage their bitstream. Core is powered by proprietary technology of Signal.io, machine learning algorithms that apply both supply path optimization and demand path optimization, and bringing the SSPs and the DSPs closer together by providing a bitstream that is focused and tailored and reducing the cost for infrastructure and increasing the win rates in the ecosystem. Beautiful.
Bill, a small company.
Bill SWANSON, I'm VP EMEA of PubMatic. I've been in PubMatic for 4 years. Before that, I was a publisher. PubMatic is an SSP. We work with premium publishers globally. We have offices all around the world. But yeah, we focus just purely on the SSP marketplace and providing technology solutions for publishers, but not only technology, but also very much people, a service-based business.
SEMION.
Hello, everyone. My name is SEMION from Cydersoft. Cydersoft providing solutions for mobile video in-app brand advertising. We're providing full holistic approach. If it's SDKs, players for end users, full turnkey solution for the demand partners, targeting, retargeting, traffic validations, detecting any kind of integrations issues. We have one of the biggest mobile DMP based on 100% opportunities on the in-app market all around the world. We already reached 275 million unique users a month.
And AMIR?
Hello, everyone. AMIR MAOR, co-founder, CEO of Appreciate. Appreciate is a mobile DSP. We're focused on in-app traffic, OpenRTB, connected to a wide variety of exchanges with hundreds of billions of daily exposures of impressions, anywhere from video, interstitials, MRAIDs, you name it. We're self-serve, there is no agency, and what we do very well is we help advertisers optimize around their KPIs, so that's our advantage in the market.
Excellent. So let's dive right in, and SEMION, maybe we'll start with you and talk about premium and programmatic. So in the past year, we've seen a lot of innovations in the marketplace designed to help create a more direct and safer environment for premium publishers. Still, we don't see enough programmatic premium supply by publishers. What are the issues you feel need to be addressed in order to create such a safer environment for them, and is Outstream the solution?
So indeed, we see for several last months new regulation in the ad industry. For example, ads.txt, few new regulation is going to be inserted next year, like ads.cert, OpenRTB 3.0. From one hand, this technology will have dramatic effect on the ad tech, and we already see it in technology on business level. But at the end, I do believe this approach will make the business more transparent, more clear, and this will provide much more efficient supply chain. It will provide a lot of issues if it's invalid opportunities. Is it latencies? So I do believe the changes happen. It's very healthy changes. They will require a lot of resource for most of the company in the ad tech, if it's from business or from technology. So we'll see what's happening. A lot of change will happen next year.
All right. Bill, you see a lot of publishers. What's your perspective?
Yeah, no, we speak to a lot of publishers, a lot of premium publishers, and this is not just from an Israeli perspective, but from a global perspective. The main problem really, I think, holding back programmatic video is the fact that a lot of it is sold directly, and so actually the amount of inventory available from a video perspective for programmatic SSPs such as ourselves is a very limited supply out there. So that will change as more publishers look at how they can increase their video supply or inventory that basically is relevant for video. And therefore will allow programmatic to grow. But still, video and the talk of video and the great riches to be made from video will come. The money is still moving over from other areas. So people will make more money from video as we go through 2018. And there'll also be more available supply, just as publishers look at addressing that as a supply issue. So I think it's a great opportunity, but the limitations to date in terms of programmatic has just been the amount of supply that's been out there.
So it's scarcity rather than uncertainty about the
scarcity and
technology.
uncertainty. If you don't have much that's available from a programmatic perspective, then obviously you're limited in terms of the amount of demand that can be plugged in and compete for that. For example, in the UK, we've just seen 3 publishers come together to basically run a type of almost closed market consortia to try and drive up the CPMs and also to enclose it as a type of a scarce market to control access. I think we'll see more controlled access, not just to video, but a bunch of all premium advertising moving forward as trying to drive scarcity will help the market.
Got it. HILIT, what's your take?
So I think we should definitely understand why publishers don't embrace programmatic that match. Is it low fill rates, or is it maybe latency issues or bad user experience, or maybe it's afraid of losing revenue due to hidden fees? I think that the reality is that header bidding is being adopted more and more. So definitely we're seeing publishers moving away from traditional waterfalls and moving into programmatic. And we need to look at what's going on this arena, what's going on with the DSPs and the SSPs. So if we look 2 years ago, we'd see that DSP would run about 1 million QPS. Today, the large DSPs need to process about 5 million QPS, and that's hundreds of billions of events on a daily basis. This is really huge. It's very hard. And a lot of them need to throttle in order to take all this amount. And that's actually meaning that they have to lose on opportunities. On the SSP side, I don't think it looks better, because if a large SSP today is probably connected to about 150 DSPs, even 200 DSPs, if you look at the auction itself, you'll see that only about 2 or 3 DSPs are actually participating in each of the auctions. And at the end of the month, you'll see that about 10% of them are actually paying the bills. So either they're pure listeners, or that they're very, very hard for them to buy. They're not as sophisticated enough. And I think that this year we'll see much more adoption of supply path optimization and machine learning algorithm that helps to create a much more efficient ecosystem. And that is a good news for the publishers, because the win rates are going to increase. The user experience is getting to be better for them, and definitely that would draw them more and more to programmatic.
So good news for publishers in terms of supply.
I'm optimistic.
Good. Amir, what's your take?
I think the view from I'll give the view of the in-app environment. So that's maybe a different view in the sense that we actually see a big increase in the available inventory, which is video. So I think at least some of the exchanges that we've worked with have doubled their video inventory. So I think there's a lot of growth in that area. But again, this is part of the overall trend of transitioning into in-app and into mobile. But I think that, yes, we'll see, I see big opportunity there. And actually, just as was mentioned here, I don't think that the fill rates, not in terms of, but in terms of how many of them are actually bid on, I think there's still a lot of room for more demand to come in, at least in the in-app environment, which I'm not sure has been fully, I'm pretty sure that has not been fully adopted yet by advertisers. They're still kind of testing the waters when it comes to in-app video. So that will be interesting to see.
Got it. Interesting. Well, from our perspective, by the way, and I think you all covered this, it's about performance and that balance between direct sold campaigns and programmatic campaigns where premium is easier to sell at the end of the day. If you have a sales force, and that element of unified yield is becoming more and more important, which actually leads me to my next question, and this is header bidding. We can't have a programmatic panel without discussing header bidding, and obviously in the past 2 years we've seen tremendous growth of header bidding in display. I've been in a lot of panels in the past year and a half, and each and every one covered that area. Not a lot of panels have covered header bidding for video, and Bill, maybe we'll address that to you. Do you see adoption of header bidding for video? What are the considerations? What's your take on this?
Simple answer, yes. But I think it'll take a bit more time, in particular around video. I think there are a few technologies out there at the moment purporting to offer header bidding for video, which not necessarily is quite there yet. I think as publishers generally get to grips with header bidding and wrappers just from display in general and getting the learnings from there, that'll help with video adoption. Our view is it'll probably be more of an H2 thing for next year in terms of video wrappers and header bidding. But I think it'll definitely come, but I think there are a bunch of technical issues that need to be resolved, first of all, in terms of latency, type of formats that need to be type of considered within the wrapper. But it's coming. I don't think there's anything questioning that won't happen. It's just, I think there'll be such a big rush, and I think the learnings from display that people are having at the moment will help in terms of the decision making.
Got it. So it's more of an education thing or compliance?
I think education and technology and people trusting that the technology actually works and is transparent in that space.
Got it. Simeon, what do you think?
I do believe that adoption of header bidding has happened. I also believe that header bidding itself changed for the last year and a half from the concept and what you see in the market. It started as client-side header bidding. As much as header bidding might become more mature, we see more and more solutions server-side or some kind of mix between client and server-side solutions. I do believe that header bidding will successfully be integrated in case it will be more on the server side, because especially these days in programmatic, you need to make much more considerations, validations that will be problematic to do it on the client side. More than that, don't forget the end user. If we provide only client-side header bidding, all the cost of the traffic will be on the end user. So for the long-term relationship, publisher will do look for the technology solutions that will save the cost for the end user, as well as provide better monetization solution for the demand partners. The approach of simultaneously request, I believe, is great. Still, technology issues exist there, like wrappers mentioned. And I do believe in more and more technology released that covered these specific steps. So, in my belief, server-side header bidding will take much more significant part of the future header bidding.
Amir, do you see header bidding prominent in the app world?
I'm sure it will come as much as it comes to all the other fields. For us as a DSP, of course, it has a big impact. Header bidding is kind of a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it makes sure that we're going to get, it increases the chances that the bidder will see an impression coming up for an auction. The downside is, of course, that you might see the same impression coming over and over again, which creates load on the systems. I'm sure this is something that came up in other areas as well. So this is something that DSPs are starting to actively doing to start reducing load due to header bidding. And of course, there's also the business perspective, the aspect which is, are you going to bid against yourself, basically? So I think, yeah, it will come also for an app, but there are definitely some issues that need to be properly handled so it won't hit us in the wrong way.
Right, and I think HILIT mentioned that DSPs feel the crunch. It's 5 times more QPS because they're seeing all that media, all that traffic in multiple directions, right?
Yes, that's true. Header bidding was supposed to create much more competition, but I think at the end of the day, we're seeing that it is presenting a whole new level of arbitration and a lot of stress on the partners of the demand side. DSPs today are seeing many duplications coming from the same bid. Sometimes they don't even recognize that it is duplication, and they need to understand how to avoid bidding against themselves. Eventually, in order to do that, you need to understand how the pricing models of each SSP is working, whether they're using a first price auction or a second price auction. Some SSPs are even using hidden fees that they need to understand. And they need to really get to a deep level of optimization in order to make the right decision so they would be able to win that bid.
Got it. And I think we have a very broad perspective. We've been doing header bidding just for video for many years, and I see a lot of education is still required in the marketplace because header bidding for video is so much different than header bidding for display. In SEMION, you mentioned server side versus client side. It is extremely difficult to run header bidding effectively without a little bit of client side work. And it's still a very interesting space. It's still growing, at least from our perspective, and it's becoming a real issue for both small and large publishers, how to manage yield effectively for video. It's by no means similar to display.
But also just on that, we're finding when we speak to the market, there's a lot of decisioning being made on header bidding, wrapper. It's fairly tactical rather than strategic. So looking for some short-term gains, again, moves to the first price, second price, as to, will it make people more money? Yes, it probably will do in the short term, but if it basically confuses the market and makes it less transparent, that's not very helpful with the whole ecosystem. So what we try and encourage is really to have conversations on a more strategic level around technology. So they're basically, that helps influence some of better decision making rather than just tactical. Because when you get to the tactical discussion, it's really, can you just make more money than you made yesterday? And that's really not the right way forward. Shall I repeat the whole thing?
We were talking about making more money. Okay. Okay, so let's move to another hot topic in our industry, ads.txt. Did anyone not hear about ads.txt? Show of hands, anyone? Anyways, I think it's a small issue in the industry, and SEMION, maybe you'll help me address it. It's definitely swept through the ecosystem. And everyone is talking about ads.txt and implementation and challenges, et cetera, et cetera. What's your perspective? Do you see this picking up? Do you see any vulnerabilities that are people using these days? Is it going to develop?
The answer is yes. The answer is yes, but I want to elaborate on this. First of all, ads.txt, it's very surprisingly, it's very fast into the market. A few months ago, we saw only a few % of the website implement ads.txt, only a few partners in supply chain created the target based on TXT. And here, a few months later, we see the industry embraced ads.txt. It took most of the companies surprised, and not most of the company was ready. The publisher make this change very, very fast. So this month, we see the companies who have the abilities to develop solutions to support ads.txt, they're there. ads.txt changed the edtech industry, so I do believe that company with bring some value additional to standard aggregation will be in the market. Otherwise, we saw less and less company in the market these days. But I also believe ads.txt is only one part of the regulations. We do expect the next steps, ads.crt, OpenRTB, and actually next year we'll see the values of combination of all these regulations together. The regulations requires to reduce the number of supplies in supply chains on video advertising, not only video, also banner advertising. So in the end, I believe the market will be much more clear and much more transparent.
HILIT as a DSP, sort of, how do you feel that ads.txt adoption taking shape?
I think, first of all, it's a great initiative by the IAB. It's a great first step towards a more healthy and clean industry. But I do think it makes a lot of stress on both the publishers and on the advertisers. We see that there is been more and more adopted, and publishers, not all of them are Business Insider, and mid-tier publishers are really afraid of losing opportunities, and you're seeing them adding more and more resellers. So I don't think that solved the problem. Another thing is to actually manage those ads.txt files. We're seeing a lot of errors, misspelling or HTML or TXT errors, and of course updating them on a regular basis. It's a lot of pressure for the publishers. Advertisers are putting a lot of stress on the DSPs, and the DSPs needs to now create crawlers and to maintain them. And you know, it's a very simple idea, but it's not perfect. We're already seeing that on the OpenRTB 3.0, there's going to be the next evolution. We've been hearing about a lot of startups that are very innovative, that are working on blockchain technologies or crypto, and I'm very keen on seeing how that technology is going to evolve and to see if that could solve the problem.